call this like the mayo. It's the fun, tasty part of life that a sandwich is kind of bland without it. So we're going to call the fun and play the mayo. You need the mayo in your life.
We talk about having fun and playing in your season of life. It really is a shift. So shifting from, I really want the whole family to be there, to understanding now that they're adults, they may not all be home.
Welcome to the Midlife Moms podcast. My name is Amelia Rhodes, and joining me today is our co-host, Brenda Yoder.
Good morning.
I can't believe this is episode 12.
I know.
And this is going to be the final episode for season 1.
Feels like we just launched it.
It really does. It's been a great time. We've loved hearing from you and your feedback. Thank you to all of you who joined us in the Midlife Moms community and podcast on Facebook and who've joined us on Instagram. This was an adventure that we didn't know how it would go. And
yeah,
it's been delightful.
And we love hearing from you. So if you have any particular episode or something that has been meaningful to you, please just message us on Instagram or join the Midlife Moms community group on Facebook and let us know. Just get a hold of us. You can email either one of us at Brenda@BrendaYoder.com or Amelia@AmeliaRhodes.com. So
we've just been so grateful for your participation, and hearing your feedback has been really encouraging. And it's encouraging to us to know we're not alone in all of this either.
Yeah. And it keeps us going. Honestly, it gives us reason for why we do what we do. We really are here to minister to moms in midlife. We're there. We need it. So we're just kind of having our own conversations and bringing you along with us. So today we're going to talk about something that, Amelia, you do really well, I think, which is learning to have fun. And I just really enjoy that we are going to have this more lighthearted, but very practical and needed conversation, because midlife can feel very overwhelming and very serious a lot of the time.
And there can be so many heavy things that happen. And I think we have to be intentional about fun and play, making memories with friends, with our spouses, with our kids. But we have to be intentional about it, because there are so many other big things that will come up, as you all know, taking care of your health, all of the teenage things that are going on, and caring for your parents. So as you're squeezed in the middle, I call this like the mayo. It's the fun, tasty part of life that a sandwich is kind of bland without it. So we're going to call the fun and play the mayo. You need the mayo in your life. So one of the things that we have done with our teenagers is to be intentional about finding activities that they enjoy, that we can all enjoy together, that take us away from technology. And we're at 2 different phases of life. So you'll hear these 2 different phases of, if you still have teenagers in the home, to if you're an empty nester and you have young adults and maybe even grandkids.
Yeah.
So I'll start with what we've done, particularly through the pandemic, because that was when I realized, wow, we need to be intentional about family time. And that's all we had was family for a long period of time. One of the things that we did that was low budget was we would pull up the map on Sundays after we would watch church online and be like, where is a park that we haven't explored? Just pulled up Google Maps and did a search for parks and looked for fun names of parks that were within an hour of our home. Of like, where haven't we been yet? Why have we never been to this park? And so we started exploring parks on Sunday afternoons, and we would take a picnic. We would maybe pick up Subway or pack a lunch, and we would hike or explore whatever was there at that park, and then enjoy a picnic lunch together. And that became our Sunday thing for a long time. And the kids really started enjoying it and looking forward to it. And we would get their input. You know, that's part of the thing with teenagers, is letting them have a say and an input for what you do that's fun. You're more likely to get buy-in if they have a say in it.
Well, and I think even for adult kids, because our kids, we have 4 kids, they're all 3 years apart. And so we have always had kids at different stages. So we've had kids who've been in high school who have still needed fun. And we have kids who are in college, or adult kids who don't want to do what the high schooler wants to do, but it's still their high school experience. In fact, we had something fun planned, I think a year ago last Christmas, when our youngest was still in high school. And at the last minute, he reminded me, Mom, he was manager of the varsity basketball team. Well, it's like, we have a ball game that night. And here I'd orchestrated and made sure that all the adult kids were around to do something fun. And I was so upset. I was like, well, just miss it. You're just the manager. He's like, Mom, I can't do that. But it does get challenging.
Mhm.
And but getting input. So our family has always had family vacations because my husband was a dairy farmer for the first 20 years of our marriage. And we recently just celebrated 32 years of marriage. And so we have always gone away. But as the kids got older, it got harder to get away because of college, because of sports, because of so many things. So it's been a struggle for me. And one thing that I would want to encourage you about having fun is that you have to be adaptable
Mhm.
and you have to be flexible. We have had a lot of uh, family outings that we have planned where 3 out of our 4 kids were there.
Yeah.
And that has been hard, but it has also been part of that shifting. So we talked a couple of episodes ago about shifting. And I think as we talk about having fun and playing in your season of life, it really is a shift. So shifting from, I really want the whole family to be there, to understanding my whole family. We chose to have a large family. And so I think there was something that connected with me earlier on when I realized we chose to have a large family, which means that now that they're adults, they may not all be home.
Mhm.
And but we are having a weekend getaway this summer. And I asked the kids, okay, where would you guys want to go? What would you want to do? And a couple of them said spelunking. And I'm like, spelunking, what is that? And it's exploring caves. And honestly, I'm like, I don't care. I'll make the arrangements. You guys decide, was that okay with everyone? And so they all came to a consensus. So we're renting a house through Vacation Rental by Owner on a river in southern Indiana, which will be within 1 to 2 hours drive from most of our kids. And so we will have 7 adults, 3 dogs, and a baby.
You'll have to tell us how that goes.
Yeah.
As you talk about shifting, one of the things I think is important is to shift your expectations for what you can and can't do. And we've talked about that a lot in this phase of life. And knowing that, I've got kids now who've got jobs and sports activities, and their schedules don't always line up with our schedules.
Right.
So keeping things simple, like shift in that it doesn't have to be a big, complicated vacation or a massive, memorable, Instagram worthy trip. I think we put so much pressure on the adventure and having a showcase worthy time together of the happy, healthy family when, that may not work for us in the season, for our budget, for the time, for even being able to get family together for a whole week. So what I've learned is to shift expectations and keeping things simple for things that we can do spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe even our own backyard.
Yeah.
So one of the things we did this year that I had wanted for a while is I bought a portable gas fire pit. We have a small lot in the city and I didn't want to store wood, but I'm like, this is something that I could keep really simple. I don't have to start a fire. I don't have to wait for the fire to build. Sometimes even in that you can lose a teenager's attention. By the time it takes you to get a fire started, they're gone, they're done. So what I did was bought this less than $200 little gas fire pit that turn it on, boom, you got a fire. You want to cook us some more? Like, it doesn't take long.
Right.
You can have a bag of marshmallows on hand and be together for 30, 45 minutes in the backyard and everybody's happy and you've had a conversation and a memory.
Yeah.
And my oldest, who's 16, has loved it. And we've only had it for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. We had you mentioned a trampoline. We had a trampoline and an outdoor pool for several years, an above ground pool. And we took both of those down probably when our youngest was a junior in high school. So we actually built a covered patio in the place of where our pool was. And that now is kind of our gathering space. And so for me, just having the kids home is important. But as my husband and I have become empty nesters with just one in college now, I turned 50 and he bought a motorcycle. Now we've had motorcycles most of our marriage actually, but he sold his motorcycle years ago when we were buying third cars. So I think I wasn't driving it as much, but he bought a Harley Davidson this time, which is what he really wanted. And he was just like, it was just so neat to see him have something that he looked forward to. And so us having fun now is me going for a ride with him, or him doing that and me doing something in the backyard, or just like, no, I just really need to veg out and watch movies. So we actually watch movies a lot. Now I kind of feel like we live in a rural area, and especially with the pandemic, there's no movie theaters to go to, but we have really developed the kind of the list of different movies we like to watch. And so that's actually become really relaxing for us, because he has been a dairy farmer the majority of our marriage, plus teaching. And honestly, Amelia, we don't know how to have fun or relax very good, because we did so much physical work for so many years that we just didn't really hang out a whole lot together. So we're learning how to do that now.
I think that's great in this phase of life. Now that your kids are gone, learning how to have fun together might
Yeah.
be something that you need to relearn or learn for the first time
Yeah.
with your spouse if you have one.
Yeah,
So fun changes, play changes, but it's still important
it is.
because life can be so heavy.
Yeah.
So how do we find the fun?
I think part of finding the fun is laughing, and laughing at yourself. I think that is one thing that I have grown in. I used to not be able to laugh at myself, but just like on a few episodes ago, I shared with you about how I had some leakage in part of my body. And there's no one there to laugh with. I remember one time when I was teaching high school, and I was hanging up these pictures of presidents along the top of the chalkboard, and I was on one of those teacher chairs that swirls, and I spun around and I landed, but I had a really good land. And I was like, hey, that was like a really good land. And there was no one there to laugh with. And I think part of being midlife is learning to laugh with the changes,
Right.
Laugh with the stereotypes that come with this age, laugh with the body changes, laugh with the loss of memory, laugh with the inability to get up and do something. I think I shared a few episodes ago where I was at school, and I have a torn ACL. And so I had gotten down on the floor to talk to a first grader, and I couldn't get up. And I looked at the teacher and I'm like, I need help. And I'm like, no, I really need help. And rather than like lamenting, I'm like, oh, I'm so old, I can't believe I did that. We just have to laugh.
Yeah. And I have found myself laughing more and laughing at the kids or the things that we do. And I remember my in-laws at this stage, just how much joy they took in their kids and laughing until they cried.
Yeah.
And here I am in my, 30s, like, oh, okay, sure. Now that's me.
Yeah.
Like my kids will do something or say something or something will happen and I'm laughing till there's actual tears.
Yeah.
And so to just lean into where you are and find things to laugh about.
Yeah. And have people who you can laugh with. So I think, I think a few weeks ago, I sent you a text with a picture that I just had to laugh with, but it wasn't something that I could really post on social media, or it was personal. And, some people can take things the wrong way if you say it the wrong way, but, there are just certain things that you have to laugh at. And so I sent something to you guys, and so having those people that you can laugh with for some of those moments. And one thing I was thinking of also was our kids. So we have one family photo that is the worst family photo ever. It was one of those that you would see on Facebook, like the ones that people would pick apart and make fun of. And it was a church photo that was taken. Our youngest one was probably maybe 4 weeks old. And so it was midwinter. We were white and pasty, and everyone was at awkward stages.
Yeah.
And it looks horrible. We all look like we're aliens, and I don't know, it was just weird. And so I had sent it to the kids, and I was laughing so hard, and I was kind of sharing these different jokes about it. And one of the kids texted their dad, and they're like, Dad, like, help mom, like what is wrong with her? But I was just laughing so hard because it was something now that I can look back and laugh on.
I think that's fun too, to be able to look back at maybe the things that didn't feel funny back then, but now they are fun.
Yeah.
So we just encourage you to find the fun. This episode airs, we're in the middle of summer.
Mm-hmm.
Find new things, try new things.
Yeah.
And it may mean getting over an insecurity of trying something new, like spelunking.
Spelunking or camper. My husband and I bought a camper
Yeah.
last summer during the pandemic on Father's Day, spur of the moment.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what we were doing.
So try something new.
Try something new.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And look for the fun, just like we said early on, to look for laughter and keep it on the horizon, but find something that might be fun and give it a try if it's the first time.
And join us. So even though the podcast is ending for a season, you can join us in the Midlife Moms community and podcast on Facebook. It's a group. And actually, we're going to continue going week by week. And every Wednesday, we have a wonderful partner with us. Her name is Kim, and she posts something funny every Wednesday. And so the conversation about Midlife Mom will go on there, even though we're taking a break for the podcast.
And this is a group of friends that you can laugh with. And we would just invite you to join us. Thanks so much for episode 12. Season 1 for joining us. This was something we dreamed up kind of spur of the moment and just ran with. And so thank you for joining us. That means a lot. We're grateful for you, and we hope to see you online in the Facebook group or on Instagram at Midlife Moms Podcast.
Have a great summer, and we will see you next season.
We'll see you in the fall.